welcome back to our third unit of science for this year. And in this unit, we're going to change from being physicists, looking at energy and waves, into biologists. We're going to be studying animals and plants and living things, how these structures and functions of living things make them be able to move and perform the tasks that plants and animals do. So this is our third unit of science. We've got about 6 to 7 chapters. Each time we do a video, you're going to watch the video, you're going to answer the 5 to 10 questions, and maybe I'll throw in a lab or two. Maybe this time we might find things that you can do at home. So moving in, we have structures and functions of living things. If I make my way, looks like we've got 8 chapters ahead of us. Today we're going to be starting with biological organization. We'll learn about organs and organ systems, the functions in animals, functions in plants, human vision and hearing, animal senses, plant responses, and 2 revolutionary people, Helen Keller and Louis Braille. Okay, so we're starting off with chapter 1, biological organization. When we get to science, remember we have the big question here, and our big question for today is, how are cells and tissues related in living things? Vocabulary. We have a cell, which is the smallest unit of life. The smallest unit of life is a single cell, or a single-celled organism like an amoeba. Okay? Word parts that will come up. The prefix uni means one, so things that start with uni are one, and things that have the term multi are many. Okay, so unicellular, one cell. Multicellular, many cells. All right, without further ado, let's dive in to our reading. Biological organization. Look closely at your hand. What do you see? Well, skin. Now squeeze your fingers and wrist with your other hand. What do you feel? Well, you feel bones and some soft parts too. Bones and skin are made up of smaller parts called cells. A cell is the smallest unit of life. Cells are the basic unit of all living things. Some tiny organisms consist of just one cell. These are called unicellular. Those organisms are so small that you cannot see them without a microscope. But many organisms, such as plants and animals, are made up of many cells. They are called multicellular. Each type of cell has its own job. All the cells work together to help keep an organism alive. Okay, here's a picture of a close-up bacteria that consists of only one cell. An individual is called a bacterium. All right, cells are the building blocks of all animal life. Animals are made of many kinds of cells. Each type of cell has its own role. We have skin cells, blood cells, nerve cells, muscle cells. All are just a few of the kinds of animal cells. Skin cells form a layer. This layer covers the whole body in this way. It protects all the parts inside an animal's body. Special skin cells make fur, hair, nails, and facial hair. Blood carries oxygen throughout an animal's body. Blood also contains cells that help to keep the animal from getting sick. You might have heard the term antibodies. Those are white blood cells that travel through or your white blood cells learn to detect certain harmful things and builds immunities. Okay, so if we have those, it can help us from getting sick. Nerve cells help to send messages to and from an animal's brain. They deliver these signals to the rest of the animal's body. Some nerve cells connect to muscles. Their signals tell the muscles to move. In turn, muscle cells help an animal to move. Special muscle cells cause your heart to beat and your lungs to breathe. Here in this picture, we have a microscopic zoom in of some cells found in blood. These cells fight infection throughout an animal's body. So here, with all these squigglies on it, these are white blood cells with all their antibodies on them. And we have platelets. So if you've ever got injured and scraped up real bad and you got a scab forming on there, those are formed by the platelets that build that layer of protection on your wound to prevent more infection that your white blood cells would have to attack. Cells are also the building blocks of all plant life. So not only animals, but plants all share cells as our base unit of life. Like animal cells, types of plant cells have their own jobs that help to keep plants alive. Leaves are made of cells, and some of these cells make or store food for the plant. Other leaf cells allow the plant to take in the air that it needs, kind of like microscopic lungs for a plant to breathe. Another type of leaf cells form tubes that carry food from the leaves down to the rest of the plant. Stems and roots are made of cells. Bundles of cells make the stem stiff and strong. Tubes in the stem, which develop from cells, allow water to move from the roots to the leaves and from the leaves back down. And root cells take in water from the soil. The water moves from roots through the stems to the leaves. This is a photo of a close-up of a leaf, and all of these are individual cells of the leaf. Our next term, new vocabulary term, is tissue. Tissue is a group of similar cells that are joined together. So instead of being unicellular, most of our organs and everything that makes up who we are and what a plant is, what a beaver is, what a dog is, are layers of tissue, multicellular combinations of cells. Okay? Groups of similar cells form tissues. Groups of similar kinds of cells form tissues. In animals, groups of muscle cells that work together make up muscle tissue. Muscle tissue allows an animal to move. Bone tissues are made up of bone cells. Bones protect soft parts inside an animal and help to add a rigid structure to give an animal or human shape. Connective tissues help hold different body parts together. Each of these different types of tissues is made up of a group of similar cells. Your bone cells go with your bone cells to make bone tissue, muscle cells with muscle cells to make muscle tissue, and so on for all the different parts of your body and an animal's body or a plant's body. Plants have several tissues too. Some tissue forms from the outside of the plant, its protective layer. So if it was a tree, its bark would be a type of tissue, or the stem has an outer tissue. Other kinds of tissue transports water and nutrients to the plant stem and leaves. Yet another type of tissue forms the growing parts of the plant at the tips of stems and roots. Each of these types of tissues is made up of a group of similar cells, or it's a tissue, not what you blow your nose in when you've got a runny nose or bad allergies due to this sudden drop in temperature that we've been experiencing, but tissues made up of multi-cells to build up to our plants and animals. In all living things, cells make up tissues. This pattern of structure is what scientists call biological organization. Here on this picture, we have tissues inside plants that form tube-like structures. This type of tissue carries water from the roots through the stem and to the leaves. Kind of like our veins and arteries inside of us, carrying our blood everywhere, carries water everywhere. And that will wrap it up for Chapter 1 of Unit 3. So, after watching this video, you've got 5 to 10 questions to answer in Google Classroom. Take your time, and I look forward to diving deeper into human, animal, and plant biology with this upcoming unit. So stay tuned. Your next science video is on Thursday. Every Tuesday and Thursday we will do a science video. So I'll talk to you real soon. Stay awesome, and I will see you real soon.